Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Abuja. Welcome to Daybreak Extra on Trust TV. Coming to you live, of course, from our studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Hope you're doing well this morning. It's indeed a very beautiful Saturday morning. One Saturday that, it's not rainy, so it's a bit of a change of weather, even though it's not too hot. It's just a very chill, kind of relaxing Saturday. Anyways, welcome. My name is Sumaya Abubakar, and today is indeed a pack-full day for you. We get to talk, we get to hear you, to listen to your own opinions on matters, that affects us. So, of course, we'll be opening the line also. And don't forget that last week we spoke about, marriage. I think arranged marriage rather. So due to poor demand of something extensive, we promised to bring a psychologist. Well, we'll be having a psychologist today to talk to us more about, marriage and marriage stuff, how to deal with it, how to conquer any extra mouth or extra opinion in your marriage. So make sure you stay tuned. And also we'll be bringing you entertainment gist, what's happening in the entertainment stories. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And when we come back, we'll bring you what the national dailies are saying this morning. Stay with us.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Really, if you look at English squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back to Daybreak Extra. Like I said, if you're just joining us, of course, we are going to bring you entertaining, interesting stories, what's happening today in the national dailies. But I am joined by my favorite girl.
You're always joined.
Good morning.
Okay, yes, the last 2 weeks you were not joined.
By you,
right
exactly.
Now, yes. Thank you for having me back, ma. I'm happy to be back, ma. It's a beautiful Saturday, like you actually said. The roads are free. Very interesting, you know, and we have the best for you, stored up today on the show. I'm Dashan Husseina Usman, by the way. Thank you so much, Sumaya from Plateau.
We're back again.
Yes, indeed.
I miss you with this, your Sumaya from Plateau kind of thing.
I'm a teaser, I know.
All right, so we'll head on to what the newspapers are saying, and as usual, we'll start with the Daily Trust newspaper here. The major story says mixed reactions over proposed merger of FIRS, Customs, and NEMASA. Interesting. The writers there says Tinubu's advisory council targets $50 billion annually from manufacturing. It will be cumbersome, Professor Nwokoma said. An ex-CITN president backs plan and advocates careful integration. Now, all these stories you'd find on page 4 of the newspaper. Below that, you see Army, Navy behind 99% of oil theft. This was according to Dokubo, name officers involved. Navy now is telling him to name the officers involved. If you're making allegations like that, then you need to have proof. So there's a pictorial. It says Cameroon, Niger, Benin citizens lament fuel subsidy removal in Nigeria. The writers there says transporters, black marketers pushed out of business. Later sells at 800 naira per 1,000 naira equivalent. 800 naira, yes, to 1,000 naira equivalent. Time for legitimate earnings, says experts. Well, it was, surprising that our neighboring country are complaining about the decision made in our own country.
In my mind, I was like, wow, what happened to their own, leaders?
Yeah.
Why can't they subsidize?
So it happened that we've been taking care of other countries,
exactly, and that's why
we suffer for it.
Actually, angry about.
Sad one. Okay, so it says Nigeria, Morocco, 12 others sign MOU on 17.5 trillion naira gas pipeline. You find this on page 4. How Alia's candidate defeated Akume's to emerge Benue Speaker. You find this on page 25. At the bottom there, it says IMF backs CBN's exchange rate unification policy. You find this on page 7. And how, that's below the marks there, it says how foreign companies train Nigerians to become professional swindlers. Okay, this you'd find on page 21 and 22. In the entertainment segment, it said, I urged my mother to remarry when we were broke. Iya Rainbow's son said. You find this on page 12. Now, these are some of the stories in the Daily Trust newspaper today.
All right, let's take a look at Saturday's Sun. We have the lead story here, talks about oil theft. Top military officers exposed. We have writers here that says Asari Dokubo tells Tinubu those stealing Nigeria's oil fingers army naval officers. Name officers stealing oil, military counters Dokubo. Now, we have more stories here. Presidential poll, 2.5 million votes not reflected in final results. Maths professor tells court. And at the top there, we have the Sun, MD re-elected into NG Exco as Vanguard editor emerges president. We have more stories at the bottom here. Fresh leadership tussle resumes in Senate. Reps Ndume Bamidele battle for Senate leadership position. Seriake Dixon, Alero lock horns for minority leader. We also have robbers kill father, raped 2 daughters in Ibadan, Catholic priest kidnapped in Benue. We have court sets aside order sacking IGP, DSS ordered to allow Emefiele see family lawyers. It's so sad. 1 minute you're at the top and the next you're begging to see your family. All right, NJC on the footnote there probes 7 judges, dismisses petition against Justice Odili, 25 others. And these are some of the stories on Saturday's Sun.
All right, now we'll move to the nations today. The lead story there says Northwest, Southeast jostle for Senate leader. And Yari, Izunaso, Umahi likely contenders. G5 to battle PDP for minority leaders of Senate and House. Now, all the stories you'd find on page 3 of the newspaper. How 200 billion naira was spent on census in 9 years by NPC. You'll find this on page 4 of the newspaper. Beside that, you see how we survived Kwara boat accident that claimed 106 lives. Survivors recall horror scene, lucky escape from Kwara boat accident. a really sad story there you find on page 11. It says that, you know, the survivors just were lucky to hang on to a tree that was beside the river. So, and the rest just drowned. 106.
Really sad.
So sad story. Okay, beside that, we'll see I got reports about electoral infractions from our agent, Dino Milai tells court. You find this on page 5 of the newspaper. At the bottom there, NJC constitutes panel to probe 7 judges and bars judges from switching from High Court to Customary Court of Appeal, recommends elevation of 9 judges to Court of Appeal, and appointment of new judges. Now, all the stories you find on page 4 of the newspaper at the top there. IMF hails Tinubu as Naira records first closing gain. You find this on page 6 of the newspaper. And court orders SSS to grant Emefiele access to family and lawyers. You find this on page 4 of the newspaper. Now, these are some of the stories in the nation today.
All right, so moving on to Saturday Punch, we have at the top there, yes, talking about the National Assembly and jostle for leadership. We also have Dokubo's story there, and the lead story talks about Emefiele clocking 7 nights in custody. Bauer answers bribery asset sale questions. Suspended CBN governor begs for freedom, gets nod from lawyers, family members visits. Embattled EFCC boss facing probe over Matawale's $2 million bribery allegation as well. Now, 3 years after, father, mother await return of 5 kidnapped sons. I can't even begin to imagine the horror, you know, they're actually going through. It's really sad. I hope they're alive, and I hope that they get to go home soon. But even if they go home, will they be the same?
True. The terror.
The trauma, because the men also face trauma. All right, so I am not with Portable for money, says fiance. All right, I think this is his 4th wife. Yes. She said she was mocked for dating him, and right now she's saying she's not with him for money but for love. All right, so
Portable is lovable.
all right, so with that, we'll move on to more papers.
Okay, so let's move to Saturday Vanguard. Here, lead story says Akpabio, Abbas, democracy defenders or rubber stamp duel. And right there says lawyers, activists fear for our democracy when the president appoints head of legislation, the legislature rather, and the judiciary. You find the story on page 10 of the newspaper. At the top of that, it says right to reply. Pius El Herido did not railroad Ibori to jail. You find the story on page 12 of the newspaper. Frank Mba Chiroma promoted to DIG. 36 others soared to AIG and CP. You find this on page 28 of the newspaper. Why Tinubu should dissolve Nigerian Air. This was according to Allen Onyema. You find this on page 20. Why voodoo ritual killings are increasing. Cultism claims 10,000 lives in 25 years. This story you'd find on page 14 of the newspaper. Of 99% of oil thefts carried out by Navy, Army, Dokubo tells Tinubu. You find this on page 3 of the newspaper. Below that, you see grant Emefiele access to lawyers and families, court orders DSS. You find this on page 5 at the bottom. There says NJC probes 7 judges, dismisses petition against Odili and 25 others. You find this on page 3. There's a picture of Mary Igwe. I think there's a sit down with her there. So you'd get that article on page 21 of the newspaper. At the top there, it says Ezia Naba, Vanguard editor, emerges president of Nigeria Guild of Editors. Well, congratulations to him. You'll find this on page 4. Now, these are some of the stories in the Saturday Vanguard.
All right, let's take a look at Saturday Tribune. Ifa, from the top of the page there, does not pick Yoruba kings. Governors do, says Oluwo. With 1 wife, 2 concubines, 11 children, Vulcanizer says, I need help. All right, so let's move on. IMF endorses Tinubu's forex reform. Experts warn against galloping inflation. And we also have armed robbers kill man, rape his 14-year-old daughters in Ibadan. But police have actually confirmed arrest of suspects, which is, a really smart and good move. On the footnote there, we have most rich people in the north don't care about us, the poor. Police Commission appoints Mba Chiroma as DIGs. Court sets aside order sacking IGP. Now, defeated APC reps, candidates form group, make demands from Tinubu. And my husband married wife number 7 shortly after our wedding, woman tells court. And these are some of the stories on Saturday Tribune.
All right, now we'll move to the Blueprint weekend. And from the top there, it says top army naval officers responsible for oil theft in Niger Delta, says Asari Dakubu. You find this on page 4 of the newspaper. Below the mask there, it says Alhaji Dakpo Sarumi, where are they now? Well, that's a question being asked there. You'll find that on page 23. You get the answers there. Ex-reps member 3 bankers jailed for 212 million naira fraud. You find this on page 7 of the newspaper. Court sets aside IGP's sack order. You find this on page 4 of the newspaper. The major story there says the 9th National Assembly lawmakers came, saw, did they conquer? Okay, that's a question there. Did they conquer? The writers there says the Senate passed 162 bills, 104 assented by, 2 by Buhari. Pushed for consistency in budget circle, increased implementation. Failed to address over centralization of security architecture. And many unfinished probes, more unanswered questions. Now, all this you'd find on page 5 and 6 of the newspaper. It says Frank Mba Balachiroma, now DGIS, the DGs of, so Frank Mba Balachiroma, now the DIGs of, the police. So you find this on page 9 of the newspaper. Indomie safe for consumption. NAFDAC assures Nigerians. You find this on page 8. It's like people are already reducing the numbers. So at the bottom there it says subsidy removal. Private school proprietors narrate ordeal. You find this on page 26. And in the entertainment section there, it says, my success not due to strategy, but Allah's plan. This was said by Rabiu Rikadawa, a.k.a. Babatang Audu. You find this on page 17. Now, these are some of the stories in the Blueprint this week.
All right, and let's take a look at Punch Sports Extra. We have stories here from the top there. About Sierra Leone versus Nigeria. Omerwo expects tough clash in Monrovia. Deleye, Sochima, Olorunleke battle for number 1 spot. All right. We have more stories here. We have Valencia lose sponsorship after Vinicius racism case. We also have the lead story that says, beware of this Kanu, he's not Nigerian. Eagles must keep an eye on Sierra Leone midfielder as both sides clash in AFCON qualifier. An inside story talks about transfer rumors, the Euro match reports. We also have Brighton holds talks for Galalier. We also have EPL clubs keeping tabs on Griezmann. More stories, Mbappe affirms commitment to PSG, as Paris Saint-Germain. We have Barca send improved offer to Gundogan. Morata rejects €50 million Saudi offer. Arsenal preparing £100 million rice bid. And at the top of the page there, we have 2 more stories. We have I am an unshakable Arsenal fan, says Dari at Alade. And shocker. Wall Drum drops Okobi and WFL stars for World Cup, and you'd find an insert of the full list there. And with that, we wrap up by reeling out stories from major dailies. We'll go on a quick breather, and when we return, we will continue with the analysis of some of these stories. Stay with us.
Thank you for staying with us on Daybreak Extra. So right now we'll move on to analyze some of these stories. Okay, so let's start with this major story here. It says mixed reactions over proposed merger of FIRS, NIMASA and Customs. How? Like, I know that there will be a lot of attack. People wouldn't really want this.
No, you know, the fact about this, if you remember, it's actually been a while since they have been talking about merging some parastatals together because they're doing similar responsibilities and all that. They have similar responsibilities and they're doing almost the same job.
Indeed.
And, you know, the cost of governance, you know, you have so many staff, so they're being paid separately and all that. So in order to reduce the cost of governance, you know, there's also an Orosanye report and all that. And these are not just the, institutions that actually should be merged. NIMASA, Customs, FIRS, I don't see it as a bad idea because, you know, even though they all have their different visions and what they do, because FIRS, tax collection, Customs, you know, border, and NIMASA, but even if they're merged, they can have separate departments.
I think that's the target.
Yes, but then what a lot of people are actually afraid of is the fact that, you know, most people, will they lose their jobs? Will people lose their jobs?
I think the government, the government is all about creating more jobs, not taking jobs away. So I don't think the jobs would be affected. Though the people that benefits more, like, the governorship, the governance, because this parastatals already have 3 different governance, so when merged together it has to be one person, so that
actually shouldn't be an issue. I'm sure they would find a way to compensate the rest. But we have Professor Nwakoma saying that it's going to be cumbersome. Governance is cumbersome.
Indeed.
Governance is all about taking risks, and if it can be done, then it should be done, because we have so many. For example, let's even talk about the one that we know that we're very close to our heart. That's the road, transport start talking about. We have VIO, we have FRSC, we have a lot of them doing similar jobs, even though they say it's different, but it's the same thing that they do.
It's the
so
same.
Why not merge them? Do you get? Why not merge them? And so we know that it's one person that we should, what that should be accounted for.
Then they'll just be saying head of each department to take more care of it, because truly we're wasting money in that governance, so it needs to be merged.
And the funny thing is, if you go to some offices, you find them working together.
Yes.
So why can't they be merged?
You see road safety and the VIOs in the same vicinity. What about the DSS and the EFCC? There have been deliberations on that
another
too.
Thing
yes,
as well. Do you understand? Secret police. There's even the SSS.
Yes, the SSS.
Do you get? So
it's just too much, anyways. Okay, look at this attack. Dokubo saying that army, the allegations.
Well, do you know, it's one thing to come and allege that, yes, this one stole this one. Even Ba was said to have requested for $2 million bribery and everything, but he was fingered, We've heard so many allegations on so many issues, but name them.
Name them, yes. The Navy are coming out to say be bold.
This particular, this particular sentence that the Navy actually put out, telling Dokubo to name, I actually see it as a threat. Yes, name them if you can. It's either 2 things. If you have the facts, bring them out. Don't just give us half story. You understand? Most of the things is actually saying is not new to a lot of people. A lot of people know
there's
that
been a lot of
there's been suspicion and all that. So name them so that we'll move on, and those people can be dealt with to serve as deterrent to others.
Indeed, but then there's a lot of allegation without naming. So
exactly,
yeah, we've seen situations.
But I don't think he can. If he could name them, he would have named them by now.
He can't.
He would be able to name them.
We know how life-threatening that is.
It's alleged. Do you understand? So even if it's true, he won't be able to name them.
Okay, so this actually made us laugh, right?
Okay. The other countries, Benin, Niger, and Cameroon, lamenting that our subsidy removal is affecting them. Of course, that's how even power should even power. Do you know, Nigeria sees itself as the big brother. Do you understand? And it actually does a lot of things for its citizens and also affects neighboring countries. They get to enjoy some of these things that we enjoy. But once it's taken out, they have no right to lament.
Exactly. If they're lamented, what are the citizens of Nigeria supposed to do?
Exactly. I have so many questions, about their own countries. What have they actually done to,
plan for the future, for things like
for themselves, and also help Nigeria? Do you understand? I understand that we're supposed to have like a relationship because we're West Africa, ECOWAS, and all that. But then
it should be a kind of give and take, not you always being the giver.
Given, yes. I think Nigeria is actually done being Big Brother. So every country should fend for itself.
Indeed. Well, sorry for Cameroon, Niger, and
We're really sorry. then their country should actually work on upping their minimum wage.
Indeed.
Yes, maybe 200,000 naira per month.
We found the situation of Kwara State also demanding that from their government.
The same amount?
Yeah, that they want to be paid 200,000 naira per month. And I'm like, how much is the country's internal revenue? How much for you to
is it
demand?
Possible? All right, so we have leaders, we have those in leadership positions, or let me just say in parastatals that are supposed to pay a certain amount. They're civil servants. Can't the rest be paid that same amount?
Okay, so speaking about civil servant anyways, here in the Media Trust Group, we had fun yesterday.
Yes. Yesterday, the women,
women
of Media Trust.
It was all about bonding.
Yeah, it was a team bonding experience. It was fun. I didn't know it was going to end up like that. Even those who came in, a bit later, then they had their own feel of fun.
Indeed.
There were games, there was dance, competitions, there's a lot of heart-to-heart talk.
How to distress.
Yes, and a lot of, it centers around workplace. And this is something that should be done almost every time, because people go through so much.
Indeed.
Do you understand? And then you find them coming to work. In order to give their best, they need to know that the management, their employers actually care about them. The employers actually hold them into account, and this actually shows it. And I think every organization should create an opportunity. Remember when it was just a few people within the organization that would just decide to just go out and
yes.
It shouldn't always be about work. Learn to distress. It helps you do your job better.
And and you get
to know your colleagues a lot better as well.
It helped us, honestly, because there will be a lot of people that you don't know, and you know that these people now have your back, and you can easily go to them in case if you need any.
And it was actually a safe space for us to be able to, share, a lot. And we had the group general manager, HR, there as our mom to actually, listen to those complaints and advise us, and also find a way to work around it to make, working in the establishment a lot better for us.
It was a beautiful one. Anyways, let's take a look at, how the event went. Take a look.
How was work today? Fantastic. Oh, you're still on. All right, fantastic. I'm sure a lot more people will be joining us, but you're very, very welcome to this auspicious event. Yes, it's small, but it's for us, and we love the fact that this particular event was organized for our sakes, and we really, really appreciate Media Trust for this. So we're about to kick off. I know some of you are tired. You've been here from morning up until now, so we'll try as much as we can not to keep you for too long, but at the same time have fun. Some of you are having fun already. Fatima, focus. All right, so we actually have an order of events here, and we will be starting with the opening prayers. But before we go into the opening prayers, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Darshan Husseina Usman. I work with Trust TV, and it's a pleasure to meet or see each and every one of you. We'll get to introduce ourselves later. But for now, let's start with the opening prayer. And we'll need a Christian and a Muslim to pray for us this evening. So,
this gathering, Lord, we say take all the glory as this gathering is about to start. Be with us and let us have fun in Jesus' mighty name.
Amen. Thank you.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in, Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim, siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim, ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Amen.
Both in the same building. So we're just going to do a little exercise, okay? To stand up and meet someone you don't even know.
I know. She's a joker.
Okay, so this is what we'll do now, right? We're going to do this. Alright, we'll start. And then Chloe, you take over, tell us their names, what they do. So we'll continue like that. Till we get to the end.
I don't have favorite food. But I just love tea. I take tea morning, after night. Okay, my name is Naomi. It says Obo. Best thing nicknaming people in the office. Yes. I'm team lead, co-created content, Daily Trust.
Department of Media Trust. My favorite food, I'm actually all over the place. But during that time, we felt we should be doing more of this gathering as the ladies of this company want better, get to know each other better, support each other better, and so on and so forth. So what started like a small idea in a small room has actually transformed into something I would say that is looking bigger now. Because for the board of directors of the company to, more or less like stamp their approval in us having this quarterly gathering, I would say it has grown from a small idea into something bigger. The whole idea is, like I said, is for us to bond, for us to talk about ourselves, for us to support each other in terms of career growth, career development, and all that stuff. As women, we all know we have our, peculiarities. So it would still form part of what we would be doing going forward, to be inviting guest speakers to come and talk to us. What I mean by guest speakers, sometimes people outside the Media Trust family. We could have doctors coming in to talk to us about women's health. We could have people coming to teach us various arts and crafts. We could have psychologists, people who would understand, what is going on in our heads and guide us on how we can overcome challenges and sometimes difficult situations. So there is no limit to what we can do. It's a short opening remark that I'm making, but again, quite important that I give the background to how this event is going to pan out. We understand. So we were all excited to do that, but unfortunately, the current situation of the fuel subsidy, we also had to look and say, well, it's a Saturday or a Sunday, it may not be fair to start asking people to come to the office to attend. So that's why.
What do you understand to be mental health?
Psychological stability, kind of.
And at different stages of our life, like during your childhood, Like I pity my children, they have to wake up by 5:30 a.m. They will go to school. You know the number of subjects they do now? As much as 18 subjects. Those small children. And then I pick them up at times by 5:30. They woke up since 5 a.m. So if they are not in a good state of mind to handle such enormous, what's it called now? Subjects and all the stress of the day, it will be very difficult for them. That's mental illness, like we think it is in Nigeria, that the person don't run mad. It is not true. Many of us.
All right, so that was it. The Media Trust Limited Women Bonding activity that happened yesterday, and you know, we cannot wait for the next one to actually happen. So yeah, we've had a feel of, you know, what went down yesterday, and you know, if you were not there, then it's up to you. That was a dancing competition that happened, and that was Sumaya and not me dancing. Because oh my God, it was fun. Yes, so we had interdepartmental competition. You know, different representatives from different departments actually came out to dance, and you know, it was quite interesting. You know, there were lots of games. We had Ludo, we had Scrabble, we had the what. You know, it was interesting. I can't wait for the next one.
Indeed.
All right, so I think with that, we're done with this.
Yes.
If you didn't come, then sorry, you make it a date with us next time.
And we hope that, of course, that it gets to, you know, encourage other organizations to just do this for their staffs, you know, find a way to make your staff bond and distress, because a lot of organizations, you see people having competition, unnecessary bad blood.
Yeah,
which is
so much negative energy. It's really sad.
All right, then let's take a quick breather, and when we come back, we get to open the line to talk about what's important in our life and how we can, you know, take care of the things surrounding us in our community and society. Stay with us. Welcome back to Daybreak Extra. So like we agreed last week, you know, last Saturday, to bring in psychology to talk about, you know, involvement of parents in the marriage. Of course, we brought a psychologist who will be joining us rather later to look at mental stress that the parties involved in such situations are going through or facing, be it from the man's side or the woman's side. Now, this could be, you know, from father of the groom to father of the bride. We're not only talking about mothers, because we all know that some situations, even the fathers also have one way to interrupt or to interfere with the marriages of their children. So our psychologist will join us later. But for now, we would want you to call us, you know, talk about, let's start from where we stopped, from the arranged marriage to a situation where parents feel they cannot do without interfering with their children.
Or you can send messages.
Yes, of course, you can send messages on WhatsApp to, you know, communicate to us in case if you're not able to reach us. So let's hear it. The number will be displayed on your screen.
Definitely.
All right, Hussein, so last week you were absent, but we talked about arranged marriage, where some people agreed to some extent it's okay for parents to just, you know, help you navigate and tell you the suggestion, this is a good person, and others feels like a forced marriage, not really arranged.
Well, it's actually all about choice, you know. Naturally, a lot of people would actually find their spouses themselves, people they want to settle down with themselves. But in most cases, it doesn't really work out. And in some cases, it works out so perfectly. And you know, the thing about arranged marriage has to do with, let me just say, in the society, you have a lot of elitist people who would rather arrange for their children to actually marry a fellow elitist.
Yes, and
just to keep
it's
it in the
happening.
family.
Yes, that's a
do you
fact.
understand?
It's still happening.
And in
The
such
elites
cases,
do that more.
these children have probably been trained or groomed to. It's not kind of actually arranged. You know that. In some cases, they've actually been family friends for a really long time, so they've known each other. Do you get? In some cases, they've even dated. So it's not like really arranged.
But sometimes they do. I know a close
sometimes
situation
they just say,
this person. I know someone who would feed your son. I know that sometimes there's actually a middleman.
Yeah, and then in most cases, when that happens, most parents have actually seen, they actually know who their children are, you know, and so they're like, okay, so this one would be good for this and all that. And it ends up working very well.
Indeed.
And in most cases, it
favors
doesn't.
some, while some it really doesn't. Okay, so last week, someone called and complained about what happened in his marriage, where his mother-in-law interfered in his marriage, and it ended up, like, the marriage ended up badly, and currently he's not with his wife, which we sympathize. And pastor, I don't know if it's the one from Jos or a bishop, I can't remember, called to tell us that we should please take it up. So we decided to. So we know situations of, you know, mother-in-laws interfering or father-in-laws deciding, maybe having a strong hold on their son or their daughter to decide what really happens in the marriage.
I've actually heard of stories where, you know, that's why a lot of women run away from mommy's boys. You know, these men are so close to their mom and they don't see anything wrong with what their mom does or says. But you are an adult. You should be able to discern. You have free will. You should be able to know what is right and what is wrong. And, you know, our holy books actually says you leave your parents and be with your wife. Your mom left her own parents to stick with your dad.
And she's a decision maker in her home.
Exactly. So you should be able to give your wife that independence to be able to, you know, make her own decisions and run her home the way she wants to. Cut off ties with, I'm not saying completely with your mom, but focus on your family.
Just
your
priority.
Mom, yes, your parents have actually done that. You know, they've succeeded to bring you up and all that. You should learn to be your own person. It's very, very important.
Indeed. And in his case, anyways, it was vice versa, because it was the woman's mom who kept interfering.
Cases.
And I think I know someone who shared personal story on that, where, you know, mother, even while they were dating, the mother was making a lot of decisions. This should happen. And he told the girl that I can't marry you if your mother is going to be telling me what happens in my own home. So it's vice versa. All right, so we already have a caller. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, I think we lost that call. Please keep trying to call us and send a message on WhatsApp so that we can read out your message on your thoughts on, you know, parents interfering in marriages. Sometimes parents just need to know that you're grown.
But the only interference, you know, that I would, you know, want parents to interfere or advise parents to interfere is when they're there to support. For example, some families that some couples actually go through, what do you call it? They go through, there's a downtime, you know, when it comes to money. If the parents have the means, they can support them with a little bit more money to keep them going on. When the wife gives birth, they can go there and support them. Even when they're sick or when they need to have their own alone time and they need to take care of the children.
Yes.
They can take the children to grandma's place and they would, do you understand?
That's the support you need.
Yeah, that's the only support, like just support, but do not interfere or want to. Yes, your home might have turned out okay. Don't forget that. Your son's personality is totally different from your husband's. Your daughter's personality is totally different from you. Do you understand? You don't have so many men or so many dads mingling in their children's, but the woman always there. In fact, I actually watched a movie where the woman wanted the daughter that the lady the son was going to marry to come and live with her so that she can, you know,
decide if she's fit.
Yeah, so that she can see or even train her on how to take care of them. I'm like, who does
because
that?
the man is the most special one and the woman doesn't care. Just, you know, or how about, okay, what if the in-laws, that's the girl's parents, decide to do the same for your son? Or you think saying that your son's special pass?
Do you understand?
that,
you know, we have to go above You know, I think, in fact, society has actually gone beyond, you know, the men being the one to decide the type of wife they want. The woman should also decide the type of husbands they want. You have so many husbands, you know, beating their wives. You have so many husbands, in fact, on the day they get married, going out to cheat on their wives. Do you understand?
It's really a sad situation, honestly, and a lot of people, especially, you know, the African culture, it's like when you marry someone, you marry the entire family. So that interference can be really disturbing. Okay, we have another caller. Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear us? All right, I think we lost that caller there. Call us on the number on your screen and also send WhatsApp so we can read out your WhatsApp messages to hear your own contribution on how we can tackle this, because this has become, you know, a really sad situation in our society. Our society is a society that believes in marry the entire family, and if you are not really blessed to have a family that is, you know, educated or understanding, people that know boundaries. I watched a movie about boundaries, you know, knowing the boundaries. This is the couple's time. Allow them to do their thing.
Yes.
You know?
Okay, as soon as the couples get married, you know, you can never, even while you're dating, you don't really know a person totally. That's why you have so many people dating for as long as 15 years, and once they get married, 2 years, they've already divorced. Do you understand? Marriage is a different ball game. Allow these new couples get to know each other, get to work stuff out between each other and understand each other. Do not mingle. And even for the, let me just say, a lot of women, you know, women are very emotional, and mommy's boys are very emotional as well. When they have issues with their spouses, they run to their mom or their dad and say, you don't do that.
That's a huge mistake.
Because you don't even do, I think if you have, like, you should get someone you know is not going to be biased to be able to advise you on stuff. Do you understand? Or you should have like an older couple away from your family that you look up to, that might be able to advise you on what to do. Because when it comes to family, especially parents, right, there's a lot of
biasness. They will choose their own. That's a fact.
Yeah, but you know, whatever you do is the right thing, and whatever you tell them is what they correct.
Believe.
Yes. Do you understand? And so they might just, you know, end up adding more fire to the issue than actually solving it.
That is true. That is true. I keep telling people, there was a situation of someone dating someone, and then the mom of the supposed fiance was like, okay, I'm close to you, so you can tell me anything. And the mistake that person did was reporting the son to the mother. I'm like, you expect her to choose you over her son?
Exactly.
All right, we have a caller. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Okay, what's your name and your location, please?
Yeah, I'm Mohammed Modibo calling from...
Can you please speak louder? We can't hear you from this end.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, Mohammed Modibo calling from Gombe.
Okay, Mohammed Modibo, thank you for joining us. So what's your take on the parents' interference?
You see, this has become a norm in Africa, you know. Most especially mother-in-laws, you know, try to invade into the privacy of their children, of their son, who marries daughter from another family into their families, and it is something that is worrisome. It is something that we need to get rid of it. Because it is causing a lot of marriage problems, you know. Because these mother-in-laws sometimes, I don't know how they think. They are living freely with their husbands. They enjoy all the freedom, you know, of their marriage. But they always want to protect their son. I don't know. Is it that because they are having a kind of character that is questionable, or are they not living amicably and freely with their husbands? Are they doing something on the ground that they don't want it to be applied to their son by his wife? That is something that we need to get down to the root of it and find out. Because this is seriously causing marriages problem in Africa. And we have to rid of it before it gets rid of our marriages in Africa. That is my take. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that amazing contribution.
So much, yes.
And yeah, it's really sad. You start wondering, just like you said, if the mother has something she's doing that she doesn't want to be done to her son, or vice versa. It's really a sad situation.
You know, there are lots of things that a lot of women wish they actually did or changed in their marriage.
So they want to use living your life through your children.
Yes. So they would want to fix that in their children's marriage.
It's not yours to make
some mothers can
that
be
decision.
so controlling. Some mother-in-laws can be so controlling.
There's some that would want you. It's just like you said earlier. To come in and act like how they do in their. So when you bring you're bringing yourself, and it's different from the culture of their home. So they see it as though you're being different, and that difference, they don't really embrace it. So while you're trying to find your way through it, it becomes a very bad situation for you and the family. Okay, we have another caller there. Good morning. Oh, we lost that caller. It seems we're having, the network issues. Please keep calling us, keep trying, and hopefully we get to, hear from you. And also you can send message on WhatsApp. Okay, we have another caller. Good morning. Good morning. We lost that call. Please keep trying. The network is really
if you can't get through, you can actually send messages, which is very easy.
We want to hear from you. Okay, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, I think we're having issues with that call. Indeed, situations like this happen, Husseina, all the time, where you see a woman going into a home, or a man, from his case, because this man that called is a live example of men go through the same thing. The mothers are telling you, do this, don't do this, and it's affecting your home. When in your own mind you feel, I should talk with my own partner and not anyone else. Okay, good morning. We have another caller there. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, what's your name and your location?
My name is Murtala Abdullahi Mohammed, and I'm calling from Niger State.
Okay, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome. I can see it's about mother-in-law of 10, isn't it?
Yes, and father-in-laws too.
Yes, it's a collective issue. And they are our parents, irrespective of if your mother-in-law from your wife's side or father-in-law, they are all more or less like our parents. And most of them are quite stubborn, really, we know. And they create a lot of nuisance among their children, what have you. But the issue is endurance must be the key to all of us. If you disrespect the parents, automatically we see it a rip from your own children. No matter how so to endure, we all have to absorb it. Certainly they bring us to this world. You understand? Hello, are you with me?
Yes,
Hello?
we can hear you.
Go ahead.
Yes, certainly they give back to us, they bring us to this world, and whatever we have on this earth, it is Allah has ordained them to give back to us. And whatever Allah gives us in this world, it is because of their reasons. Isn't it? So automatically we have to endure. Certainly I know. And I know what I'm even personally as I'm talking to you, I know what I'm facing in my own house now. And it is all through my own mother-in-law. My own mother-in-law. She fell ill. He brought her down to my house. All I could have in return from her, after nursing her, nurturing her, ill health, is now healthy, ill and happy, creating all sorts of things in my house. And in fact, I have no other thing that can to endure. I just have to endure, and I endure it.
But that could affect someone's mental health too. Enduring for how long?
Almost a year. For 1 year, 1 good year I've been enduring. The only thing I did, I remain committed to prayers. Oh yeah, Allah. Oh yeah, Allah. Yes. my healed soon and let her go back to the village. Ya Allah, may her be healed soon and let her go back to the village. If you want to say that the kind of, the kind of ulterior motive he had on mind, he impacted my wife with it, and even my children in my house, we are not comfortable. They were not comfortable. He is so troublesome. But to all that, we must, not only me, we must, because they are our parents, they are our mothers, we must enjoy it. Just keep life moving. If you misbehave with them, you have something wrong in response.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That's this contribution.
Thank you for that wonderful contribution. Even though enjoying, honestly, I don't think that's us just telling the parents to continue doing that. In marriages, listen, I feel like it's boundaries. When we say setting boundaries, it's not up to the parents to set the boundaries. It's up to you, the couple. You, the woman, you set boundaries with your family because you can easily talk to them. So tell your mother and your father and your family that this is what I want. This is my marriage. You don't get to do this. Exactly. And it's vice versa for the guys too. You set that boundaries. Okay, we have another caller there. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, your name and location.
My name is Aklo. Calling from Nasarawa.
Okay, from Nasarawa. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead.
Okay. This is a very nice program, and this is a very nice topic.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You see, what is bringing all this problem is two things. One, the in-law would like you to dance to their tune. And if you cannot dance to their tune, they will cause you problems. And secondly, it's because maybe you have some material things. God has given you some material things in earth. So most of the in-law will like, they will not pray for the marriage to stand, or they will not look at the marriage. They will be looking at as your material thing. All they want is to kill you and inherit it. So you see, the father-in-law and mother-in-law, they are causing most of the broken homes now today. They are the ones that broke most of these homes. The couples, the bride and the groom, most of them love themselves. But the father-in-law and the mother-in-law, they are the ones causing all the problems. So please, government intervene. It's not all about prayers. But we pray, we will act. The National Assembly wants to make a law that will protect the couples. Because father-in-laws and mother-in-laws are causing a lot of damage to this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that wonderful contribution there. Okay, so we have a few messages that I would be reading for those of you, sending your messages. So.
All right. So we actually have a message we have a message from Hansa from Kano here, and he says most of the parents are after what they will get from their daughters, and they would actually keep pushing their daughters to the extent that the husbands realize that they're making too much demands and even stealing from them, and it's really, really bad. Yes, we know most mothers will push their children, especially when they come from a humble background, to actually marry those who are actually well-to-do, so that they can actually get to live a better life through them.
Yes.
And that's some of the mistakes that we're talking about.
Indeed.
Yes, they made a mistake in their
one.
marriage, stayed for love, it didn't work out for them. Now they want to live through their daughters.
Their daughters.
Yes.
Or sons. Really sad. All right, now we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, of course, this discussion continues, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130.
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Really, if you look at English squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Right now we have Halima Abubakar. She's a psychologist and a marriage counselor to dissect, this issue of interference of parents in marriages. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for having me.
Coach Halima, I get to call you Coach. Yeah, talk to us about issues. We've been discussing the issue about parents interfering in the marriages of their children, and the parents would justify it with religion. With the Creator saying, "I am your mother, so I get to make decisions for you." What's your take on that?
Thank you very much, Somaya. It's a very interesting topic, really, because one of the major causes of divorce in our community today is the issue of in-laws. We just cannot shy away from it. However, yes, most times the parents use religious excuses and all of that. Like when a mom will say, "Oh yes, paradise, your paradise as a man lies beneath my feet." The question is there paradise truly? Can you really ascertain that, yes, the mother is actually on the right track? Because if your mother, for example, is not going according to the tenets of Islam, she's not obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then there's no paradise there for you. And in most cases, when mothers utter these words, when upon investigation, you just realize that it is wrong. Now, the chapter in the Quran that talks about respect for our parents, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, like وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, right? Or husna. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about respect. So there is no obedience to a creation of Allah when you are disobeying Allah himself. So in a situation where there is no justice, and like our mothers, most of these mothers, especially, we have this major challenge in the north here, where a mother could just wake up one morning and say, "In kasanina haipeka kasakeka," and the man just bitterly, he just cannot do anything but to divorce his wife. I've had these cases recently by virtue of what I do as a marriage counselor. I've had these cases come to my table about how a mother-in-law would just say, tell her son, divorce, take the children and all of that.
Yeah, they use the children.
That's not fair.
This is something that they couldn't do while they were married.
Exactly. And you realize that there's a lot of insecurity on the mothers, on the from the parents' side. Sometimes, how we are women, like I've always said, well, I don't really blame them 100%. However, we need to learn. We need to change this attitude. Why? Because you realize that most of these mothers that do this to their daughter-in-laws, they happen to go through the same thing in their marriages. So one would have said, you don't expect this from them. However, of course, we know the issue about being a direct, recipient of your experiences, the environment that you live in and all of that. And then it goes into their subconscious, even though they may not want to do it, but in practical, in the right sense of it, this is what they are doing. And that insecurity about, okay, I don't want what happened to me, to happen to my son and all of that. And you are going beyond your boundaries.
You have so many mothers, imposing their ideas on what a marriage should look like on their daughters. And I'm saying this because, I know of someone whose mom, while she was married back then, the husband didn't do anything. The husband was lazy, didn't do anything. So she was like the head of the family and all that. But she married someone from her place. And she wanted her daughter to marry someone from their place as well. The daughter, all her life, she's actually loved people from other cultures. But she made sure she, arranged a marriage between her and someone from their place. And now the marriage is nowhere. And she still wanted the daughter to go back to the man, despite the man beating her, despite her not knowing that the man doesn't even love her, doesn't even give her money, doesn't take care of her. The mother still wanted the daughter to go back to the marriage.
So I'm wondering how that kind of marriage
is expected
to work. This is because, from what you just said, there is no solid foundation. It's just about satisfying the need of my parents. This is what my parents want, and I want to do it. It is not 100% wrong. However, there has to be, there has to be from the part of the woman, from the part of the girl also. There has to be, not just because it's my mother, but is she willing to do it? There has to be willingness.
Okay, I think
so. And where there is no concrete foundation to marriage, that marriage is bound to have problems. Okay. And that's what we are seeing today.
I'll pause on that. We have a caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
What's your name and location, please?
Sorry, Muhammad Modibo, from Gombe.
Okay, from Gombe. Muhammad, go ahead.
Yeah. I want to thank the guest sincerely from the bottom of my heart for this wonderful contribution of hers. And she actually touched where I want to deliberate on. Especially, we have issues of religion that comes to play in these marriages and the interference by the mother-in-laws, so to speak. Some of the mother-in-laws go extra miles to compelling their own son to post his wife simply because they are not in good terms with the wife, or because the wife is not doing what she wants her to do. And because of this religious belief that your paradise is beneath the feet of your mother, that she will just compel you to go and go against what Allah has stipulated, and Islam is explicit on that. There is no way you can displeases the Creator and pleases the created. Because this marriage is something that is being ordained by Allah. And you cannot just, your mother has no right whatsoever to interfere into your marriage life and ask you to divorce your wife against your wish, provided you are living amicably with your wife. So the whole thing starts around, dialogue, communication, and understanding. I don't believe in the idea of, of persevering and enduring in difficult times when you actually know where the problem is coming from. The person that is creating the problem, you have to sit him down and talk to him. Just to understand, you should know what to do.
Indeed.
But seriously, we just have to be very serious on that. We have to be very careful. That is my little take. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mohammed from Gombe, for that wonderful contribution. He said you have to deal with the problem. Someone called and said we should endure, we should persevere, but for how long? The parents could stay for a longer period of years.
Exactly.
So you can't be sad your whole life just because, your parents are saying something.
All right, let's take a look at a message before we go back to you, Coach. We have a message here and it says, hello, good morning. One of the reasons of interference from in-laws is that the couples are not truly in love. They get married based on materialism, status, or something else. No genuine love or show of love and commitment. And that's from Idris Hamma from Gombe State.
Okay, thank you, Idris, for that. Even though I'm thinking Coach has something to say on that.
Yes, I have something to say on that. But still we are talking about the foundation. You said something about how mothers force their children to marry someone because he's rich, because of his status and all of that. This happens a lot. And at the end of the day, yes, when the mother is, of course, she has the upper voice. She has the upper hand. She could influence the decisions of the marriage and all of that. And the woman or the girl in question may not be able to say anything. And it's vice versa, because it happens also to the men. Yeah. To the men too. In fact, today, what we have mostly today is orangery. People get married because, there is something, there is money, there is connection, there is this. So even when they are genuine women or genuine men for you to marry, maybe because of love, maybe because, of course, for us Muslims, there are criteria of getting married. Most times you don't get to meet that criteria because there is something involved. And at the end of the day, we'll be faced with all of this crisis.
Okay, now let's talk about the fact that, most women. All right, before we go ahead, we have a caller. Hello, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us. What's your name and where are you calling from? Hello?
Okay, I think we lost that caller there.
Okay, so we talked about arranged marriage and everything, and I was telling Sumaya that not all arranged marriages are actually bad. Some actually get to work.
Absolutely.
But you need to know what you want. Like, a lot of people get married. Some get married for procreation. As long as both of you actually have an understanding, then the marriage will work out the way you want it to work out. Now let's go to, women, especially, that society has actually termed above marriage age, those who are probably in their late 30s, 40s, or even 50s, We're not talking about the in-laws interfering. Of course, they're too mature to even allow that to happen. But in that case, would it be okay for such women to actually, marry for love, considering that their biological clock is actually ticking or has ticked?
Well, what I always say about the issue of marriage, while driving here, we're having this conversation that even love itself is not enough to keep marriage, to be honest. So for marriage, love shouldn't even come top of your list. Yes. Okay. Because you find out as time goes on in your marriage that love is almost like the last thing that you need. Because when someone claims to love you and does not respect you, the person is not kind to you, the person is not loyal, where is the love? How is the love supposed to play, its role in keeping the relationship here? No. love is okay. However, love without all other qualities cannot keep marriage. So when they want to go into marriage, of course, the clock is ticking. But the fact that the clock is ticking, remember, is not a yardstick or a guarantee for them to just go and get, every man out there to say, I want to get married because I'm 40 or I'm 50. No, because at the end of the day, sometimes there is always something behind the delay, like we always say. The delay can actually be good.
A blessing.
It can be a blessing. So for you to, get that delay and then still make the wrong choice, I mean,
so
come on.
What's the most important ingredient for getting married?
Okay.
If love is not the top.
Love is not the top. Now, one of the most important ingredients in getting married, we always say someone that is God conscious, right? But even being God conscious is not enough. So there is no like one very important ingredient. It's like a combination of
food to make
food. Exactly. Marriage is an institution. It's like a home you are building. Like when you are building a house, for example, you don't just lay one block, right? There are processes. So that foundation, it requires a whole lot.
All right, we have a caller.
Let's pause on that. I know Coach wants to really talk about this. Okay, let's hear from you. Good morning. Your name and location, please. Okay, I think we lost that caller. Okay, go ahead, Coach.
So I'm saying it cannot just be one ingredient. For you to make, for example, stew, or you want to make vegetable soup, it can't be just one ingredient. There are so many things that you must put in place. Fear of God, the ultimate. However, somebody can have the fear of God and the person is not kind. Somebody can have the fear of God and cannot control their temperament, for example, cannot control his or her anger. And there's still fear of God. At the end of the day, the person would have abused you, have beaten you, then the person comes back to beg you and say, I'm sorry. So you see, there has to be a lot in place. Fear of God, fantastic, the ultimate. Kindness is there, understanding, effective communication, listening skills, right?
Okay.
Respect is there. Because somebody can love you and not respect you.
All right, Coach, I think we have another caller there. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, your name and location, please.
My name is Ahmed. I'm calling from Kefi, Nasarawa State.
Okay. Ahmed, go ahead with your contribution.
Okay. This is a very important topic. And the reason most in-laws interferes in marriages, I think we need to understand it from two different perspectives.
Okay.
There are some that interfere negatively, and there are others that interfere positively. So I think from the negative that in-laws do interfere is some they have been unnecessarily overprotective. They are just being over suspicious. They are being they have this over anxiety. There are kind of persons in their mind that they want that maybe they want to dominate the marriage. They want to dominate the husband. They want to be over controlling. They want to control everything. From the other hand, the positive interference, because in their positions as parents, they're supposed to be guiding the marriage, not that parents. They guide the marriage. They give it direction, because you cannot think because you are the husband, you know everything.
True.
I think the topic need to have a kind of balance. That it's not all the interference that is negative. We also have the positive interference, which I don't want to go into. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ahmed from Kefi.
Yes, please don't also forget that if you have questions for Coach here, you could actually feel free to call in and ask her.
Yes, I think I agree with what he said.
Yes, but before you go on, Coach, we have a message here. We have a message here, and it says, in-laws interfere in their children's marriage issues when one or both couples does not have enough maturity to manage their affairs. Now, with enough maturity and understanding, they will put the in-laws in their appropriate place. And that's from Kasali Wasiu from Ogun State.
Well done, Kasali. Kasali made the punch. He's like, put the parents on their place.
Well, I agree with what the last caller said, really. There has to be balance. So this is where we need to balance it. The role of parents in marriage is truly that of advisory role, guidance, coming in as, guiding them, suggesting to them, but not to dictate, not to become an authoritarian, not to say, oh, my words are final and all of that. This is because, the way Allah designed it, once upon a time, they are children, they are your kids, they were children, you dictate everything about them. You determine what goes into their mouth, what they wear, how they dress and all of that. And then they grow to a certain stage where you need to let them go. You need to realize that they have to go. Let me tell you, some of these in-laws are not really even interfering negatively because they want to. Some of them don't even know.
They don't see what they're doing
as wrong. They don't know.
So someone needs to call them.
They may actually feel like they are trying to protect the interest of, like some of us, we have children. And you know how it is, with this your little boy that you love so much, and then you watch him grow and all of that.
All the training that they've, imbibed or put into them from where they're growing, shouldn't they trust that would actually help them, move their marriage to where it's supposed to be?
That's what I'm saying. That is if they know. Because when you don't know, of course, if you don't know, you can just decide to do whatever. People use what they have, to the best of their ability. They use what they have to get what they want. Sometimes not consciously. It is something that is just unknown to them. They feel that it is okay. You are saying they have the knowledge. They think they have the knowledge, but the knowledge is not, it's not serving them. It's not empowering the child. It's not empowering the marriage. Do you understand what I mean? It's not empowering the marriage at all. So sometimes it is okay for in-laws, to suggest. Because if you look at marriages today, it is possible that something is going wrong. And where you have a woman, for example, in a marriage, or a man going through abuse, and it gets to a stage where this person feels that it's okay. When you know that the mental health of this individual is being affected, but the person is there, sometimes there's need for the in-laws to come in and try to maybe talk to both parties, try to see how they can resolve issues, right? But even at that, you cannot force any of them to do what you want them to do. They have to see reason.
Indeed.
There has to be diplomacy. There has to be a lot of diplomacy. There has to be a lot of patience in trying to make this person see reason why you shouldn't run your home this way. Mind you, if we say completely we are taking them off, we are taking in-laws off, things can actually go wrong. Because there won't be anybody like for us Muslims, for example, when there is so much crisis, they look for a wali. They say, who is your wali? Who was the person that gave the girl out in marriage, right? At that point, you know that this person's voice is now becoming very important. Now, in a situation whereby there is none, what do you think will happen?
No problem. Let's have a pause on that. We have another caller there. Good morning.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning. Your name and location, please.
Yeah, my name is Aladi.
Okay, calling from?
Honestly speaking, what Hajja says psychologically is good. Married without good foundation.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so the issue is that any marriage that the foundation is not solid, Allah is bound to fail. when there is a good understanding and love between the two, then you can go ahead and connect the marriage. But if there is none, you just forget about it. If not, it will not last.
Okay. Thank you for that call there. Okay, no, Coach Halima, the main question, ultimate question, how can we solve this? Because we know that this is something that is in our community. It's in Africa, it's in Nigeria, it's in every part of Nigeria. But then even the area where it's becoming worse because it's interfering in marriages. How can we solve this? Are we going to go with, Kasali's points where he said we have to put the parents in their place, or what? Because some people are of the opinion that, the couple are the ones to put the parents of each in their place.
In addition to her, how is it possible to put the parents in their place when they are the ones doing almost everything for you? Maybe they bought you a house, they gave you a car, they give you money because you're not.
So
do you
you
understand?
See, that's at this point. That's where you will now tell young
All right,
people.
I think before you answer that hefty question, we have another caller. Let's pick this call. Good morning. Good morning.
Well, good morning.
Yes, your call. Your name and location, please.
I'm calling from Jos.
Okay, go ahead.
My name is Mohammed Bawa.
Go ahead, Mohammed Bawa. Please stay away from your TV. Just talk to us on the phone.
Okay.
All right. So go ahead.
I'm watching you right now. And the lady there is making a lot of sense. What you're saying. But me, I look at it as the interference of in-laws. They can come at a certain time. But between the married couples, if there is effective communication between them, I don't think there is anything that can go beyond them. Because sometimes if you talk to the in-laws, you are exposing yourself. You understand? So I think the wali that she's talking about, sometimes it is not the parent that the in-laws, the wali may not be the parent. So it is the wali that they should resolve to if there is any problem, rather than the in-laws themselves. It goes to the in-laws when the wali cannot, solve the problem. So in that case, I think the wali is the central part where crisis or there is any understanding that can be solved. But first of all, the communication purpose problems. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mohammed Bawa from Suleja there. Indeed, I'm a firm believer of the couples to work it out. I don't believe in sharing it with anybody. Just fix it, whatever happens. Because you fix with someone, the person might be loyal to the other part of that couple, and the person would hold the grudge. You people would move past it, and then it starts hammering on your head, hanging on your head, and fixing the issues. So, but Coach, let's come back to how we fix these issues. And like I said, should we follow Ghazali's way? And like Husseina said, how would you solve it? If
okay, so I want us to look at the solution from two angles. There are two parties involved here, 2, 3, 4 parties. One party is the parents, whether it's from the wife's side or the husband's side. These are two families, and then you now have the husband and wife. Now, from the family side, I want to tell parents that we need to allow our children to be. Let them be. If you have raised your child, like she said, you know how you raised your child, okay? Let that child now, the values that you instilled in that child, the upbringing and all of that, allow this child to exhibit it. Do not micromanage their relationship or your child. Do not remote control the relationship. Allow your child to be. That will give your child, whether boy, the man or the woman, it will give them this sense of not just responsibility, but safety. You have raised these children. You have given your words. You have blessed these people. Allow them to make their own mistakes. Let them even make the mistakes. Let them learn from their own mistakes. Because if you don't allow them to make, so how are they supposed to even grow in the marriage? Today you hear we are 25 years in marriage, 30 years in marriage, and all those years in marriage. It is not without these mistakes. But allow them to do it. And then put your trust, of course, in God that they will do it. Now you be like I said initially, be the advisors. Be the people that will guide these people. You know. And then in Nigeria, we are a religious country, of course. We always say God, God. Allow now God to do it. Allow them to make that mistake. And then let's come to the couple now themselves. Everybody kept talking about, communication and all of that. First of all, I want us to take even responsibilities of our own actions. She said something that, let us solve these problems ourselves first. There's one thing some couples do. There's any little problem, you run to your mother. You are telling your mother. The man will run to his mother. The woman will run to her friends or maybe to her own father or mother. And these people do you know some of these issues are not even worth, they are not even problems, looking at it critically. They are not. But because you have escalated it, you went to tell your family, and you know how family is. Your mother loves you so much. So it only takes the grace of God for your mother to say, okay, this is where you are wrong. She's only seeing the other person's fault and not pinpointing your own fault and telling you the truth. So there is that biasness that will definitely come in. So rather than go to the parent, try first, solve these problems. Know that when you come to stay together with somebody, of course, you are inviting trouble because there has to be, all these little issues that will come around. Solve your problems yourself. When you are not able to solve these problems within yourself, of course, you have professionals around. Our religion did not say, don't go and talk, to people that don't go and seek for help. No. Seek for help. With somebody that is neutral. Somebody that I have a lot of, when my clients come to me and they say, we are coming to you because we know you are neutral, you don't know me, you don't know my husband, please, I want to know the truth. Is this thing okay? The way I responded, is it okay? And then this person will be able to tell you that, no. So it is only when it is out of hand, for example, that you cannot handle, that you cannot say, let me talk to a professional. Now, where a professional cannot do it, then we talked about wali. Those days we have aunties, uncles that you can always go to and say, auntie, this is what I'm going through in my marriage. Maybe because of our own experiences. What do you think I should do? If you don't have that, then, but we all know our parents. To be honest, we know our parents. You know how maybe your mother, will react. You know how your dad, some fathers will say, you know what, just bring my daughter back to the house. It's not that her room is still there. Let her come back. But is that the solution? It might not really be the solution to the problem. So from this perspective, the parents allow them, please. But like I said initially, where some things are tough, you know that this is not working. Where you have, issue of abuse in marriage, and you are seeing that this person is clearly handicapped, this person cannot help him or herself, then there is nothing wrong in, parents coming in to help. But even as they are coming in, you are not coming in to castigate this other person, or it's possible that the other person also even needs help. And there's nothing wrong in, but somebody that is marrying your child, for example, automatically, that as Africans that we are, that person is your child. And that's why sometimes, you keep wondering why we are having this in-law issue. After all, we are Africans. If you come to marry my daughter, automatically, I should take you as my son. That is if the foundation is well laid. That is if I'm not giving out my daughter, maybe because of your money and all of that. And so even when my daughter is being abused, I cannot talk to you. After all, the main reason why I sent my daughter to you is because of the cash that's coming out of it. So let's just try and balance it.
Thank you so much, Coach Halima Abubakar, for that wonderful, contribution. Finally, it's all about the solution. So she's giving us a solution, and we hope that, of course, we get to use it. That is Coach Halima Abubakar, psychologist and a marriage counselor. Now we'll take a short breather, and when we come back, the show continues. Stay with us.
right, so while we're still talking about the issue of marriages and how in-laws actually interfere in marriages, we actually have more messages, so we'll take them. Good morning to our mothers there. I would like to honestly appreciate you on this program. And the topic is very important to the hearing of everybody who are right now watching this program. Now, you people are conveying a very vital information, and I pray Allah will reward you abundantly. Thank you so much, Baba Gana Umaru from Maiduguri. Thank you so much, Baba Gana, for this particular message. We still have more messages. We have this one here that says... probably the in-laws. Okay, let's start with this one that says, I once experienced an unfortunate situation from my in-laws that I should quit our relationship after a decade in marriage with 3 kids. And this was as a result of my wife's inability to always offer the regular 5 daily prayers. Although I may be the cause, because a day after our wedding, her dad met me at closed-door meeting, whereby informing me about some of her lapses, like the regular prayer. Now, what really annoyed her dad was why I should always mention that very lapse, that her very lapse, which I actually know was true. All right.
It's a really sad one.
Really, yeah,
and you're
sad
supposed
one.
to be her teacher, you
Exactly,
know, to guide her through that. So,
all right. So we're still taking more messages. We have this one here that says, probably the in-laws are feeling insecure, and so they should pay attention and give some advice that's very important for the couple's lives. I will just take a final one here. And it says, it's still from Hamza from Kano. He says he agrees with Hajia Halima. Marriage issues should be resolved between couples, and they should sit down and talk to each other. And for example, before I got into marriage, I encouraged her, and we both went for 6-month classes. That's very important. Marriage counseling, you know, on how to stay with your partner. And I'm seeing the results now, and I think people should start taking marriage lessons before going into it. And that's why I talk about, you know, intellectual maturity.
Indeed.
Do you understand?
Indeed.
You need to be mature to be able to handle.
True. Oh, we have a lot to learn, and we hope that, of course, you've picked 1 or 2 from this. I will hope that you know that you are the, you know, key person in fixing the in-law situation. The husband talk to your family, the wife talk to your family to make your home, you know, a great and good environment for your spouse. And with that, of course, we wrap up Daybreak Extra on Trust TV. We hope that you enjoyed, you know, your stay with us. We hope that for those who called, thank you so much. Messages, oh my God, we couldn't read all. Thank you so much for calling in. Make sure you don't go anywhere. Anyways, Adeni Adeshafe will be bringing you sports news. I am Sumaya Abubakar.
And I am Darshan Hussein Usman. Have a fantastic and enjoyable weekend.